So can we talk about politics for a second? Because that sounded like a segue to me.
Which politics would you like to discuss, Jill?
Well, you and I recall distinctly, there may have been some alcohol involved, but we were talking
Oh,
about we were talking about politics and how friends may hold different viewpoints politically, and
mhm.
how does that impact the relationship? And I have I am literally a registered liberal, card
Yep.
carrying liberal, and I post during the election. I did a tremendous amount of research, as I am always want to do, and I was very much trying to help inform and identify misinformation when it came to the Canadian election. And
Right.
so our Canadian politics is influenced disproportionately by the US politics. And one of the
Unfortunately.
things we've talked about is if you had a friend who was on the other side of the political table, how does that impact your relationship, or does it?
It definitely puts certain subjects taboo. There's when you know for sure that somebody has exactly opposite political views as you do,
Or just
you either
values,
don't,
our values
y-
generally.
yeah, well, you either just don't discuss it, or you feel at that person as to whether you can have a discussion that isn't going to turn into a rock'em sock'em blowout.
Yeah.
Not that I want to be a violent person, I'm really not. But I do understand how people it's just such a polarizing thing when you have exactly opposite views, and that's what it tends to be. It's not just a little bit I'm in the middle and undecided. It's either I am very left and you are very right, and we can talk a little bit about our differences, or we just can't discuss that at all. It just can't come up.
Hmm. Funny enough, it affects family. And
Yeah.
in my husband's family, there are different political views. And I am a believer that everyone is entitled to their own beliefs and their own opinions. There's certain things that I do have a problem with when it comes to things like, you know, imposing your own values or political views or religious views on someone else. And I believe strongly that you should be accepting of all people. And even if they don't agree with your views, I don't think that they have the right to hurt somebody. And it happens in friendships, but it also happens in family. And there happened to be a fairly heated conversation leading up to
Oh dear.
the Canadian election, both online. And I'm not one to engage in, Twitter or Facebook wars. I just don't have the time or the energy to engage in that. But this happens to be a family member. And there was some heated debate, both online as well over Christmas dinner.
Oh geez.
It was still respectful, and I ended up seeing there was a birthday party for one of my nieces, and it's as if it never happened, which for me, like you said, there's certain things that you just don't talk about. So I was happy that we were able to get together as a family and just not talk about it, and not like, I respect this individual who I happen to, and there was a few of us sort of getting into it, but I respect my family. I love my family. And but I was grateful that we didn't have to rehash it, and that it didn't create this chasm that we couldn't bridge. So
Yes.
have you ever had a similar situation? Because I know that you're also very strong minded.
Me, I tend to know by certain cues what way certain people lean. And I the only time that I would ever have a political argument with somebody that was on the opposite side of the fence with me is if I felt strongly enough that I had evidence that could potentially sway them. And I don't think that happens very often. It really doesn't. So to me, I'm very non-confrontational. And I feel like if you get into discussion with somebody that you know is exactly on the opposite side of the fence, and you're not going to sway them or change their mind, then the only thing that you're doing is getting into an argument that can't be won by either side. It's
Mm.
not going to ever be resolved. So it's better just to not have that discussion. You could be open minded and have a discussion, hopefully, that doesn't turn into an argument, depending on the person that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I tend to have a good sense of people in which people you can have a debate with
Mhm.
without it turning into a heated argument where people's feelings get hurt. Because people's feelings get
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, I agree.
I like to avoid that at all costs.